Hey guys, Spencer here. Today we're going to go over how to follow people within Instagram. We're going to go over the home page, and if you look at a post, determine whether or not you want to follow that person. So without further ado, let's get down to it. In the previous videos, we went over how to like posts and then just go to specific URLs via tags. So in this video, we're going to be using something very similar. We're going to be using the URLs for suggestive follow content, as well as just go through the tags, and whenever we like a post, we'll be following that person, whoever posted that post. So as always, we want to make sure that we actually run our script, pick up where we left last time, and just continue on to our journey for following people and designated accounts, you name it. So let's do python-interactive. Let's run our script. This will take a little bit of time. Now let's run that script. In the previous video, we went over how to do cookies, so we totally just skipped over that login session that we had going on over here. So, sweet, the rock. All right, now in our previous video, we also went over tags. So for this all intensive purposes, we're just going to be copying and pasting that specific tag over here. Explore, and then tags, and then dogs. This is so that we could take a look at individual posts by different people. There's cute puppies of world and boop my nose, etc. So we're just going to go and iterate through these posts. The explore page is wonderful because it's all unique users, and we're going to be figuring out how to follow people. So in this case, I think this is the very first one. All we're going to do, as always, we're just going to be expecting this button over here. We'll be copying this XPath. And now let's create a follow function. Let's put it over here. Alright, so let's do this. Come on. Dev follow. And then self over here. So this is going to be the follow path over here. So let's do follow path. Put that in strings. Let's wrap this text around. It's a little bit long, so we can do this. 2 apostrophes with this. Save that. Alright, once we have our follow path, we want to call this path self.driver.findElement by XPath. We'll just be putting in this follow path over here, and we'll be clicking on this. Let's see if this works. Since I initialized this as bot, we're going to be calling bot dot this function over here to see if it actually has worked. Let's put that over here, and then bot. Alright, I need to initialize this. We'll follow path is right here. We'll follow path. This is one line, so that's great. And let us, copy and paste this right here. Bot dot this. Click. It's over here. Great, it's following. Let's try doing this again. Okay, so this is a special case, so we don't want to necessarily unfollow the person, so we want to make sure we click out over here. So whenever this pops up, we are going to do like an if-then statement, or we can actually do this. If this is following and the other is not, we can do a bot dot, just put this, bot dot text. We have following, and if we unfollow, we should have follow. Yeah, let's just do that. That'll be a lot easier. So let's call this. This is just going to be, let's call this, where's my follow path? Did I delete it? Shoot, I might have deleted it. There we go. Yeah, I deleted that. Okay. We have the follow path over here, and let's just create a, this is just going to be the element follow ELE Selenium element over here, and then we don't want to click, we just want the element itself. So if follow element is equal to follow, I think it's, yeah, just follow, then we want to click. We want to click onto that person, not person, the post, so that we can actually follow that person. So we just do follow le.click. Sweet. Else, if it's unfollow, well, I guess there's only 2 statements in there. Else, if it's following, then we just don't want to click on the button at all. We just pass. past that, and that should be fine over here. Let us run this over here. Sweet. Now let's call in our bot.follow function over here. Bot dot, maybe driver. Oh, it doesn't know the. Oh yeah, let's do follow. Self follow on bot, of course. Did I spell it wrong? Follow. Oh, okay. Text. Follow.text. Let's just do this real quick. Double check. Self, of course. This should be a bot. Whenever we're testing things out, the self turns into the bot because we initialize self as bot for the class. So that's why we do that. Let's call follow ELE. Sweet. Now let's do the TXT or TEXT. Follow. Sweet. I also spelled it over here. Alright, sweet. Now let's redo that. Let's copy and paste our function again on over here. Okay, and let's call follow on bot. Following. Good. Let's go to the next one and see if we followed here. Alright, so it seems to have been working, and if we do that again, it's not unfollowing. So that is actually how you start following people. So let's actually incorporate this follow function into our overall evaluate post. We're just going to be copying this value, and we are just going to be putting it over here. So after we like our photo, we are now going to be following that person. So follow person. Alright, so it's going to be self.follow. And we're going to be doing that for the accept statement over here, because in previous videos we had one statement for the videos, which is the top one, and then the bottom one is just for photos. So, okay, so follow person after we sleep for a second. We can do a self.follow over here. Sweet, and then, you know, sleep for like another, like, I don't know, 1.3. And then this could be like a 1.1. Alright, sweet. Let's get out of here. Let's actually reload everything, quit out of that, make sure we save, and then let's call our evaluate post. This just goes through the individual tags that we have in our tags file, but for all intensive testing purposes, we're just going to be going through 5 posts at a time, and we are only going to be going through the very first tag. So it'll be explore tags dogs, for instance. Alright. Let's run this. Yeah, so that's gonna be running over here. Tags. Yeah, make sure you do that. All right, so now we have the tags, and now we're gonna be calling in our evaluate post over here. Make sure we also save our cookies. All right, so let's see how this looks like. All right, it opens up the page, gets out of the notifications. It loads. It should load the tags. Yep, dogs. It should open it. Yep. Now it should be looking at the picture. It's watching the photo for 5 seconds. Okay. Or 5.2. It liked it. It's already following that person. Great. Now this should be liked as well, and we're already following that. So nothing happens there. All right. Now we should be following and liking here. Okay, this is watching it for 4 point. It liked it and it followed. Yep. So just do that for the next 5 or so seconds, or 1 or 2 posts later. So we know that's working. So that's fantastic. After we squared that away, the next step that we are going to do is to figure out how to follow within the suggestions for you. But if we want to do see all over here, notice that we have a link. It's very similar to our tags, so we're going to be calling in this value over here, explore people suggested, and we're just going to be doing the exact same thing where we just go to that specific URL. Very similar to, where's my get? Yeah, very similar to here, self.driver.get, and then we just call in our URL, and then we should be good to go here. So there are 2 steps that we need to configure when we are trying to follow everybody within our suggestions list. First, we need to figure out how to follow, or just click on the follow buttons for each of these, I guess, rows, if you want to call it that. and we need to get our scrolling mechanism down as well, especially if we want to scroll down and let it load again and then keep on going down. So let's get that wrapped up under control. So I guess the very first step we want to see is just to pull up a notepad over here and then just compare and contrast the type of elements that we are working with. So let's get the very first follow button over here. Let's copy this path. So that's the very first one. Let's get the second one over here. Inspect, copy XPath over here. Let's do the third one over here. I think I already did that. Yeah, copy XPath, and let's load it down over here. Okay, so just the first top three elements. I notice that there's a pattern over here. It seems like for each row that we have, it's going to be iterating for the next follow button that we're going to have. So let's first get this one out. We'll probably just use a for loop and then format the 1, 2, 3s with just like an index. All right, so let's create a function over down here. Let's call it def follow list, I guess. Follow list or follow home. Yeah, let's do follow home. Follow home. Let's do self over here. Oops. And yeah, let's begin that. So we want to make sure we're going to get this link over here. So let's just do this for the self.driver.get. We are going to be calling this URL just to get that address. Once we get that address, we want to make sure we iterate through. So for I in range of, we don't want to start at 0, so start at 1. So the very first 10 or so values for 10 or so of these follows over here. And we want to pull up our notepad again. Let's copy this self.driver.find element by XPath. We're just going to be copying this over here, and we want to make sure we change 1, 2, and 3. 1, 3 over here. So we do this. We'll be putting in these two brackets over here, and we are just going to be formatting, which would be a format of I, where essentially this I index will be passed into the brackets, and it'll just put that into a string. So just do a little bit of string manipulation over here. Let's also put this on a new line so we can take a look at what this is. So yeah, so we'll be going through all the elements over here, and we're just gonna be clicking click to follow. So we want to go through 10 or so of our values, 10 or so follows, and we're just gonna be following 10 people in succession. So let's test this out really quick. Let's exit this, get some real estate over here. Okay, for I, actually, yeah, let's test this out first over here. Put that bot instead of self. Just loads up the page. Actually, let's go back over here. Let's load that up, and let's recall this function again. Yeah, there we go. Sweet. Now that we know that works, let's run this. We're going to be iterating through the for loop, and we are going to be following 10 people in rapid succession. Let's do this over here. Let's do that again. Self. Okay. Let's replace the self instead of bot since we're testing it out in the terminal. Let's do that. And let's do this over here. Bam. 10 people. Obviously, we are not going to do that fast because Instagram could automatically detect that stuff. So let's do some sleeps in there. And then we're going to be working down on the scroll down function. So over here. So let's sleep at a random amount. Let's do random dot, I think it's like uniform. There's 2 elements, so let's do between 0.3 and 0.7, I guess, in terms of seconds. I guess that's how long it'll take me to go through the follows and just click. So we'll stick with that. Now that we got the iteration over the for loops for the follow rows down, we need to make sure we actually scroll down correspondingly as well. So the game plan is that we want to scroll down so that we actually start at a starting position, such that we only see the very first row, so that we can be consistent when we are iterating through the rows. Because if we start out at the very top, the rows are just going to be scrambled and the math just won't really work out as intended. And if we start out at this position, we know that each of the rows are evenly spaced, so we don't necessarily even need to worry about the discrepancies between the height differences. And so one of the really cool functions that we'll be using is this script, which is like a JavaScript. We'll be scrolling down through the web page itself and just go through it iteratively. So one thing that we can do is just test it out, see what it actually does. And I conveniently found these specific metrics so that we are scrolling down over here so that we just see this particular cell, and that's just 100. And so let's look at what that does over here. So we have this, we're just gonna execute. Notice how it just went down. It just went down for just one. Let's do it again because I scrolled up. Down. It just went down like 100. So I hope that you get the point on that. And we want to figure out the best number of iterations to go through when we're scrolling down. Once we start following all these people, I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So for every 10 people, we're going to be scrolling down to see the very next value, which is going to be this guy right here. Seems like it's a news channel. So yeah, Raheem James. We're going to start on that one to go through the next iteration. So do some testing over here. 100. Since the 100th index is going to be right here, that's our starting index. And now we just want to scroll all the way down so that we just see Raheem James 16. Let's do that. So let's do some testing over here. So like 500 or 50. No. 500. 500. That was that was too much. No, too little, because we want Raheem James to be at the very top, essentially. Let's do like 1,000. And notice that we don't necessarily, oh, that was way too far. Yeah, so notice that we don't necessarily even need to like start out a specific index, because this is your starting index and that's your ending index. So if you just put in the starting and ending, it will automatically go to that specific spot. Let's do it somewhere in the middle, 100 to 750. Okay, yeah, so that's good enough. 100 is 750, so it will go through every 650 iterations down, and it will just keep on doing that for every 10 users that we are going to go through. So let's do like a 4, let's do like 21. Now we'll be following 21 people, and if the I value is greater than 0 and I mod 10 is divisible by 0, then we want to iterate through that specific value. The bots dot, well, it'll be self in this case because self is initialized as the bot. So we do self.driver.execute script. Oops, execute script. Here it is. We can call window.scroll to. Okay, so this is where we're going to be formatting some string manipulation over here. Format. We are going to have a given position. Let's call this like scroll position. We can start at 0 over here. Actually, no, we're starting at 100. Let me actually copy and paste this over here. We're starting at 100 because from our previous example, we just want to start at that specific position. So it'll be scroll to 0, and that'll be 100 because we start at 0, and then we'll end that with the 100th value. Let's get that one out of the way. So now that we are at the 100th value, we'll be starting at the scroll position, and we want to add in the scroll position plus 650 just to go through the values, and it'll keep on doing that every time we go through the 10th row right here. So I think that's just too long. Yeah, cool. Okay, sweet. And also we want to make sure we update the index. So the scroll position plus equals 650. So we'll just keep on doing that. So we should not receive an error when we are iterating through our function formats. I think that's fine. So let's test out what that looks like. So scroll position would be 100. Let's paste that over here. And the window scroll to, what is this equal to? It should be a string. So that's what it looks like in terms of the formatting style guide. It's really, really cool. Sweet. So let us roll through. I think we have everything here. Just sleep. Yeah, let's roll through all of our values here. So at the very top. Actually, let's scroll down for the very first value. Because self is bot. I keep on messing that up. Bot. Yeah, let's scroll down and let's store the scroll position to be 100. Okay. Now it's 100. We're going to be iterating through that and be following 21 people. See if that works. Okay, it's following. Yep, keep on doing that. Oh, self. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's because this needs to be a bot. Let us run this back over here. For loop. Iterate that through. Alright, it's following. Keep on following. Now just scroll. Yeah, it's scroll. Oh, there we go. Okay. It'll do that for 21 iterations. And that is how you follow on your suggestions list. I hope that you guys really did enjoy this video. I know it was really fun for me when I was going through all of this stuff, and I hope it's going to be fun for you. And so I hope that you liked it so much that you can comment down below. Make sure you like and subscribe so that we can, get this YouTube algorithm ongoing. And I hope to see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.